contemplated the snapping flames. I didn't realize you felt so certain there was something else amiss behind the harem walls.
That's a part of it, for sure,
Gatlin said with a clipped nod.
But we, too, struggled with the thought of you being with the king.
Michael's grass-green eyes held mine as he rose and moved closer, pausing to fill a tin mug from the pot. He handed me the steaming cup and gestured for me to drink. The scent of peppermint tea filled my nose, and I smiled my thanks. There were few problems that peppermint tea couldn't cure, but I had the distinct feeling that this might be one of them. "So what's the plan, then?" I asked after taking a bracing sip. "We keep running? Eventually we'll be caught." The night before, panicked and full of fear, it had seemed like the only choice, but now, in the harsh light of day, it seemed there'd never really been a choice at all. The king wanted me, and that meant the king would have me. He had arms that spanned from coast to coast, and our group stuck out like 5 sore thumbs on one hand. Even if we stayed away from towns with large populations of lions, most of the other shifters in the lands were loyal to him too, or at least pretended to be. We would have to remain deep in the forest and avoid detection. With as many predator shifters out there too, even that would be futile for the long term. I had backed us into a corner. "I want to remain hopeful, I do, but I can't see any way for us to prevail here and live a happy life." I bowed my head, and Connor whispered in my ear.
"I'm happy right now, lass. Here around this fire, drinking peppermint tea with my brothers and you. Knowing you're safe makes me happy."
He tipped my chin up and pressed a gentle kiss to my lips that had my heart melting with its sweetness.
"And we have no intention of running forever,"
Gatlin said, watching as Michael tugged open a leather sack filled with jerky. He took a piece and passed the bag to Lucian.
"St. John men are lovers and fighters. We find a remote village, get some supplies, and we change your appearance so you blend in better. Then we split up. The king is looking for a group of 5 and a woman with auburn hair. Instead, we change it up and travel into different towns and villages separately. 3 of us, and the 4th with you."
"Forever?" I asked, accepting the jerky from Lucian and taking out a piece for myself and one for Connor. I'd been with them for less than a week, but the thought of us separating made me nauseous with anxiety, almost as much as the 4 of them being apart. They were integral to one another, so different, but also tied in a way I couldn't begin to explain, like the moon and the tides.
"For a while, until things cool down. What we did was treason, but there will be a point when the king will realize it makes him look weak to be so hung up on a handful of glorified servants and the girl who didn't want him,"
Connor said, pausing to snap a bite of his jerky off and chew.
"When he sees that, he'll find a new, more flattering cause to champion. In the meantime, we can start digging into what's really going on behind the curtain there. If he's truly behind the death of these girls, he's a monster and needs to be removed from power. Secrets like that aren't ever really secrets. People talk when they're in a place comfortable enough to do so, when in their cups and in dark corners. We aren't the first to have suspicions. Just look at the maids at the estate."
I ate my jerky in silence, still not sure how to feel about any of it, but also selfishly glad to have them here with me. "At least we have each other, if nothing else," I said, looking at each of them fondly. A dark cloud passed overhead, and I refused to think of it as a bad omen as I pushed myself to my feet, suddenly itching to get more space between us and the palace. "Shall we get back on the move then? Time waits for no lion." The men all nodded in agreement and gathered their bags as I drank down the rest of my tea. We'd travel a little longer on the horses before leaving them and shifting to travel as a pride. We had a plan. It might not be foolproof, but it was something. "All right, gentlemen, lead the way." 4 hours later, I knelt, staring into the still water of Loch Tiernan, wanting to eat my words. I'd always hated how different my hair made me look, so I wasn't prepared for the wave of shock and sadness that rolled over me as my reflection blinked back at me. Gone was the waist-length mass of auburn waves, and in its place, the hair of a tow-headed 12-year-old boy. A markedly